keeping dry both yourself and your equipment is going to be the most important thing.
Time for our first track final of the evening. It have been pretty tricky warm-up conditions for these women as they look towards this 800-metre final. But they're here now. The rain has stopped. There's a rainbow over the stadium. These athletes are ready to race it out over 2 laps. Our sport can be wonderfully complicated and sometimes wonderfully simple. Louise Shanahan of Ireland on the coach on the way here, kind of cutting myself and her team manager short, just saying, look, my job tonight is to run 2 laps. We were starting talking about past results, antics and tactics, and she just said, I've just got to get around the track, give it my best effort. It can be sometimes the best attitude to bring into 2 laps. There she is, Louise Shanahan, PhD student from Cambridge, balancing a pretty intense physics studies alongside 800-metre running, rewarded with a national record back in May. She struggled a bit with illness, but she looks back to her very best here in Munich. Anna Wielgosz of Poland made the semi-final at the World Championship. She's always got a really good last 50 metres. She under 2 minutes for the first time this season, which is good in championships. Laura Hoffmann of Switzerland is here in her first major championship final. She's made semi-final outdoors at World Championships at Olympic Games. But this is it in terms of outdoor major championship finals. And Laura Hoffmann, again, another athlete that's just looking stronger with every race, as is Christina Herring. She exited at the semi-final stage in Eugene and then ran a season's best of 1:59.5 in Silesia just 2 weeks ago. Led her semi-final as well. The Herring posters are being flown all around the stadium. Alexandra Bell of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is one of 3 strong British women in this final. She made the Olympic Games final last year, Commonwealth Games 6th placer a few weeks ago. Ronelle Lamotte has 2 silver medals from 2016 and 17. She won her semi-final. She looked really good before we headed off to the World Champs, maybe struggled a tiny bit there. But the Frenchwoman looked good qualifying. Gemma Reekie of Great Britain and Northern Ireland came 4th at the Olympic Games last year. Contracted glandular fever during the indoor season, and that has kind of halted her progress, held her back a little bit outdoors. But I do feel there's a number of women in this field that are just looking better and better with every week that goes by. And Keely Hodgkinson, not sure we can say the same for her. Level's so high, and she's maintained that superbly well throughout this outdoor season. We saw Matt Hudson-Smith, Laura Muir managed to pick up medals across all 3 championships. That's the job, Keely Hodgkinson, tonight. Her personal best, some 2 seconds better than everybody else. And I feel like Keely Hodgkinson has the strength and speed to do anything in this field. Got very close to Athing Mo at the World Championships, just 800ths off the gold medal there. Was kind of blown away slightly by Kenya's Mary Mora at the Commonwealth Games. Keely was frustrated with that performance. Just 1 more race to end on a high in the championship circuit. Great Britain and Northern Ireland do have a strong history of picking up medals in this event. I don't think we've ever had 2 on the podium, and I don't think Poland had an individual medal, so Anna Wielgosz could be one to try and do that. Christina Herring led her semi-final. I think that was a tactic to ensure she was in this final. Herring does often go to the lead. She's so tall, running in a group can be uncomfortable for her. But Keely Hodgkinson has had a lot of success indoors, just going to the front and holding it. She's managed that on the circuit and at a national championship level. Could Keely Hodgkinson just make this race a little bit simpler for herself by going to the lead? And no, it's Gemma Reekie of Great Britain and Northern Ireland that's got out the hardest. Louise Shanahan fighting to give herself a good position. Keely Hodgkinson at the moment just caught up in the middle of the group. They come through the first 200 well under 30 seconds, so it is pretty quick. Christina Herring has got herself in a good position. When you're at your limit, you don't want to run any further than you have to. Ronelle Lamotte at the moment of France has swung wide. Keely Hodgkinson is running wide. She can afford to with that brilliant, fantastically fast personal best for the Olympic Games last year. But it is the tall German Christina Herring leading the field through as she did in the semi-final. This is a fantastically strong run from Christina Herring. 58 seconds through the first lap. That's so sensible and it's so controlled. all 8 women very much in contention here. This third 200, they've got to maintain their concentration. Brunel Lamott looks like she's itching to kick. She'll be so conscious that Keely Hodgkinson is behind her. Gemma Reekie is on her inside. Are things going to get shaken up down the back straight? Christina Herring perhaps being forced into a kick, forced to protect that inside position. Keely Hodgkinson has gone super wide. She's got enough gap there to go to the inside. Keely Hodgkinson on the inside, and her teammate Gemma Reekie tracked her superbly well through that 50 metres. They're coming round with 150 metres to go. It's Keely Hodgkinson from Gemma Reekie. Brunel Lamott of France trying to get herself back on the podium. Here comes a strong pole. Vilgosh, does she get herself among the medals? Keely Hodgkinson is striding away. Brunel Lamott is powering through into a silver medal. It could be 3 silvers for the French athlete. Keely Hodgkinson takes the win. Brunel Lamott second. Anna Vilgosh, a brilliant closing 100 metres. Laura Hoffmann of Switzerland got a sneaky move on the inside, and Gemma Reekie, it was almost a replay of the Olympic Games. She was in a medal position until the closing 80 metres and just faded, but she really put herself in it to try and run with Keely Hodgkinson. But Keely picking up a gold medal to go with her 2 silvers from the major championships. Hats off, that was a really well-controlled, tactically judged race from young Keely Hodgkinson.
And that's a landmark victory as well for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The 122nd gold medal for Great Britain and Northern Ireland in the history of the European Athletics Championships. They finally overtake the former Soviet Union, who competed in these games, in these championships between 1946 and 1990. Great Britain, Northern Ireland, thanks to Keely Hodgkinson, and earlier in these championships, Laura Muir, Zarnell Hughes and Matthew Hudson-Smith go to the top of the all-time medal table.
It was really a well-judged race from Keely Hodgkinson. Hats off to Christina Herring for making it a true run race. She certainly felt that was her best tactic. Keely Hodgkinson set herself up for this move as she moved into 300 metres to go, and she just lifted her pace ever so slightly down the back straight. It wasn't a massive kick. I was super impressed with Gemma Reekie's commitment and dedication to getting onto the shoulder of Keely Hodgkinson, gave her herself every shot at a medal, and ultimately it just went for gold and then suffered in the home straight. Keely Hodgkinson running supremely bravely. Brunel Lamott looks absolutely delighted with another silver medal at the World Championships. She's had injuries and issues over the years, and bringing her very best performance of 2022 to the European final. And Anna Vilgosh of Poland only went sub 2 minutes for the first time this season, and she's done it again here, just a shade outside her personal best. So outperforming her ranking, outperforming her record on paper, and delivering a championship performance as we've so often seen her do before.
And also a word for Hoffmann of Switzerland. She was finishing so fast, but as Gemma Reekie just started to tire, Reekie just edged into her inside lane, and Hoffmann was blocked as I thought she was going to come up and challenge and even go past Vilgosh on the inside. Oh,
great to see Keely straight in for a hug with her mum and dad, and the other people there were friends of Jenny Meadows and Trevor Painter. They'll be massive fans. Her mum and dad will be very relieved, delighted and proud that Keely Hodgkinson has delivered 3 major championship medals this season.
Well, Brunel Lamott, 3rd consecutive silver. You have to feel for her as well. When's she going to stand on top of the podium?
I love the delight on her face, though. Brunel Lamott is actually very honest on social media. I think if anyone likes following athletes on social media, Brunel Lamott is hilarious and very, very honest. And you can see that in her face. I'm sure she would have dreamt of converting to gold, but when you're coming up against someone like Keely Hodgkinson, an athlete that's really, really talented and tactically so reliable, I don't think Lamott ran for silver, but I also think she'll know that it could have been worse, particularly with the issues she's had this summer. Final results, Keely Hodgkinson takes the women's 800, 1:59.04 from